As promised for the last couple of shows, the smartphone show has now become the phone show. Don't worry, all your favourite Symbian, Windows Mobile and Apple devices are still here, but I'm adding in occasional top-end phones running proprietary operating systems. At the end of the day, all these mobile stars are just phones, however well specified, hence the name change, but don't worry, I'll only be featuring stuff that's interesting, new or different. You're not going to get bored. Apple have upgraded the firmware in their iPhones twice since the last show, all easily done through iTunes, but it's all mainly bug fixes since the big v2.0 launch. Still no sign of copy and paste though, the absolute showstopper for me. Making up for the disappointing N78 and still absent N96, Nokia has officially taken the wraps off the N79 and N85. The dual sliding Nokia N85 is the obvious next-gen successor to the superb N95 with dual LED flash, a fabulous AM OLED screen and uprated battery, all in a 25% thinner form factor. It's got winner written all over it. The N79 is perhaps what the N78 should have been, with 5 megapixel camera with dual LED flash and a more standard keypad design, in addition to the usual top N-series multimedia specs. The Palm Trio Pro has been outed, finally bringing the humble Trio into 2008, with Windows Mobile 6.1 Professional, Wi-Fi GPS, a large 1500 mAh battery and a 3.5mm audio jack. At last, a trio that does everything. A reminder to Windows Mobile users out there, just about every device and carrier has now released an official Windows Mobile 6.1 upgrade, so make sure you check the relevant manufacturer or network support sections. Here I'm upgrading an AT&T Tilt to 6.1, bringing a new HTC home screen, threaded SMS, voice commands, OneNote Mobile and quite a bit more. Well worth the time to resync your data, documents and reinstall any applications. HTC have announced the S740 with almost all the specs of the chunkier Touch Diamond, but in a non-touchscreen phone-like form factor. There's a slide-out QWERTY keyboard, 2.4-inch Quad VGA screen, 3 megapixel camera and Wi-Fi and GPS of course, this being 2008. Nokia's all-encompassing digital life web suite has now gone live. Ovi includes your contacts, calendar, photos, videos, files, maps, games and music, taking things several steps further than anything that's gone before, including Apple's Mobile Me incidentally, and a lot of it this time is free. See ovi.com for more. And now for something completely different. This unassuming little number is the Nokia 6650. You won't have seen it anywhere yet because you can only get it on T-Mobile, and it's not a flagship phone, so I'm not going to spend ages on it, but it does have some very interesting facets indeed. It's a clamshell, unusually for Nokia, and beautifully finished in brushed metal. All the ports, micro USB, micro SD, 2.5mm headphones have tethered covers. And there's a cover display that, with a little settings adjustment, can be set to permanently show an analog clock. No need to worry about battery life for showing the clock, because the 6650 has the same 1500 mAh battery as the monster that is in the E90, meaning that the 6650's battery life is measured in, well, decades. The cover display also features a stopwatch, reminder timer and music player with 3 touch-sensitive panels to control its user interface. Once opened up, and after getting over the disappointment that the screen's only an eye-strainingly small 2.2 inches, you'll see the next innovation, the keypad's backlight colour cycles, when not in use, in the manner of those fibre optic house decorations you see at Christmas. Utterly useless, but very pretty. The flat keypad is quite usable though. Curiously, the keypad finish is different for the 2580 line of digits to that for the rest, which rather attract fingerprints. Once started up, the 6650 runs S60 3rd Edition Feature Pack 2, although thankfully without the gimmicky theme effects seen on some of the other FP2 handsets. You'll notice from the standby screen that it's running here on T-Mobile, who have the devices in exclusive at the moment, and they take every opportunity to push forward their brand and ideas, which gets a bit overwhelming at times. Topmost on the app menu is T-Mobile's Mobile Jukebox, although their downloads are heavily DRM'd in a weird 3GP container format and of low bitrate. Avoid. Just sideload your music from your PC as God intended. Nokia Maps here is the very old 1.2, but it's redeemed slightly by coming with a month's free voice navigation. Yep, there's GPS under the hood here too. Web is customised with lots of T-Mobile service landing pages and with prominent portal and mobile links to webmail, eBay, Amazon, among others. And don't get too excited by the much hyped mobile TV. It's just yet another bandwidth heavy, low resolution and quite expensive streaming solution. The Office folder on the 6650 bizarrely doesn't contain any version of Quick Office, although the other S60 regulars are all here. The super little game Marble Cannon completes an uninspiring software bundle, and there's precious little in download. You'd have thought that in these Apple App Store days that companies would make more effort. RAM is sadly limited here on the 6650 with only 19 megabytes after booting. Power users, stay away. And the camera is disappointing too for 2008 at 2 megapixels with no focusing. Both factors that mean the 6650 isn't for me, despite its other numerous attractions. The 6650 is expensive on a new contract, but is still a good mid-tier upgrade for the man in the street. And with a few software additions, Google Maps and Nokia Sports Tracker for example, it's possible to take this very likeable clamshell well into smartphone territory, the Nokia 6650. You may remember Matt Radford, my occasional iPhone tipster. He's been a bit preoccupied with a new family arrival. But fear not, for fellow iPhone guru Nikolay Andreev is here to step in this programme boggling the mind with a use for the iPhone's original packaging.
Hi, this is Nick from Bulgaria with a little tip for the iPhone users on how and where to store your accessories. Have a look what you can stack in the original iPhone box. Just remove the insides and use some packaging creativity to store a clean cloth, SIM card, headphone adapter, an improvised SIM ejector tool, Apple universal dock, along with a remote control, 2 instruments for opening your iPhone, cable for the external battery, hands-free, European plug for your adapter, the adapter itself along with the US plug, another plug for your charging cable, original USB cable, the Apple composite video cable, great for presentations and video on a big screen, of course, the juicy external battery enough to charge your iPhone 3 times. Not too shabby for a box this size. Thank you so much for watching. Over to you, Steve. Bye.
This is the Samsung G810, an S60 powered phone and very highly specified in the camera department. In many ways it's a double for the Nokia N95 with almost identical dimensions and similar aspirations. Build quality is great with a top-notch keypad, a good slide and a good D-pad, and with beautifully tethered micro SD and micro USB ports. It's marred only really by the amateurish 3.5mm headphone jack cover which protrudes horribly, while the back has a seriously heavy-duty sliding camera protector. It's a bit overkill to be honest, but you can't fault the degree of indestructibility. Under the slide is the single unique selling point of the G810, a 5 megapixel camera with xenon flash and, wait for it, genuine bona fide optical zoom. Photos taken with everything on default settings aren't quite up to Nokia N95 standards with inferior colour and contrast handling, except in the dark of course, where results are better with this lovely xenon flash. When you're trying to capture something in detail, it doesn't quite fill your viewfinder, then the optical zoom makes a big difference. It lets you get a lot closer optically than you would normally, and the detail in those images is the best I've seen yet. So, used with skill and judgment, a qualified thumbs up in the camera department. Video capture is VGA like the N95, but here at around only 15 frames a second, and with slightly tinnier audio, still a cut above almost all other camera phones. And just to prove it, this is on the Samsung G810. There are no compromises on the other specs either, with 80 megabytes of free RAM, 160 megabytes of built-in flash memory, Wi-Fi and GPS, neatly matching the N95 8GB. Where the G810 falls down with a bump is in the poor screen, which fades in sunlight, a real downer for a camera-centric phone, and in the general level of software stability. To be fair, Samsung do get round to fixing firmware, but it's a service centre job for me, the user, in its current state. There's no way of doing this at home. Assisted GPS was quite simply broken, and the search for WLAN option in web was missing. and that's just scratching the surface. I found a number of niggles. Retail units will come with a memory card containing a rebadged version of the navigation software Route 66, but I wasn't able to test this. Add in the poorer software bundle compared to Nokia's N series and Ovi portfolio, and the G810 doesn't quite cut it as an all-round smartphone. If you're struck by that optical zoom and xenon flash though, as with previous Samsungs, do wait a few months for firmware to get fixed up properly. This is the Samsung G810.